Hi, and welcome to week 3 in English 2332. Just want to kind of cover some general stuff. We talked a little bit about the Hebrew Bible and the reading assignments for week 3 earlier, but I want to take a look ahead because next week we've got Homer coming up and the Odyssey, books 1 through 8, which is really another foundational work in world literature. It's another one of those pieces of literature that influences so many other pieces of literature. So be ready to kind of get into that. I'll post some videos about the Odyssey, and that'll prepare you for reading it. It really is a an interesting story, and I think you'll enjoy reading it. Okay, next week your first response paper is due, and I know we've talked about this before, but let me just kind of remind you some of the basics. First of all, this is not a research paper. You don't need to do any research other than reading the poem Gilgamesh. Um, I am looking for your personal opinions, your ideas, but you don't want to use first person. So instead of saying, I believe Enkidu is a force of nature, simply say, Enkidu is a force of nature. Now, one of the things your paper be graded on, of course, is the structure. So what I'm looking for there is the thesis, which is the last sentence of the introduction, which should control the paper. And since the paper has to be on topic, then your thesis should mention the topic. You have four choices. You can talk about dreams, you can talk about Humbaba, the monster, you can talk about Ishtar, this demigoddess, or Enkidu, the friend. Now, each one of those topics is fairly broad. So once you've picked one of those four, you're going to want to narrow it down, narrow the focus so that you can talk about something specific. Let's say, for example, if you're talking about Enkidu, I would, if I were doing that one, I would narrow the focus to simply talk about how he was civilized or why he sprung the traps holding the animals. Of course, you know, he was originally created by a goddess and he was more animal than man, and or you could talk about his friendship with Gilgamesh, although that one's also kind of fairly broad. Maybe the role of Enkidu is interpreter of dreams. But anyway, focus on one particular thing and just tell me what you think, how you respond to that. Remember that this is a process. This is an ongoing series of steps through which you are going to learn about the topic as you write the paper. So your paper will change as it gets closer and closer to the due date. But yeah, be sure that your thesis clearly tells me what the topic is that you're writing about. And then, of course, each topic sentence, the first sentence of each body paragraph, is also going to allude back to or refer back to the thesis. So if you're writing about Ishtar, the demigoddess, as spoiler of men's dreams or punisher, then your first body paragraph might talk about how she punished this boyfriend, your next one about that boyfriend, and but the first sentence of each paragraph needs to reference that clearly. And then, of course, and let me make this really clear. What I'm looking for in this is I'm looking for your response, but it's a response based on a close and careful reading of the assignment. I don't want you just to kind of skim the assignment and give me some gut reaction to it. I want you to read the poem carefully, think about different ways to explain how you feel, and yeah, make sure it's scholarly, make sure it's an academic paper, no research, uh, just communicating your personal viewpoint as they relate to the assignment. Okay, let's talk real quickly about the discussion posts. Each discussion post is only worth 10 points, 1/100th of your total semester grade, but they do add up. We have 20 of them this semester, and so they add up. So don't skip them. Now, if you forget one or if you turn in one that's a little short, it's not the end of the semester. But remember, they do add up, so you want to do as well on these as you can. To do well on them, they have to meet a couple of minimum requirements. They have to be at least 200 words or more, and they have to clearly address the topic. The topics are almost always going to be similar to the response paper. What is your opinion about the Hebrew Bible? What did you think about the book of Job? Which was your favorite psalm? And it's very helpful to me if you will answer the question in the first sentence of your discussion post and then explain it. So you might say, my favorite psalm was the eighth psalm because of its staircase like structure, because of its use of Hebraic poetry, because of the ideas represented, whatever the reasons are why you like that, why it was your favorite. You can explain those. But the first sentence needs to be sure and tell me. And then it's just, 5 or 6 sentences of explanation. Grammar, spelling, punctuation don't matter much in the discussion post as long as I can tell what you're trying to say, and you're in good shape. But do keep up with those. There are usually 2 a week, but on the weeks when we have other things due, like I think um, it's either week 4 or week 5, you only have one because of the outside assignments, because, well, the unit exam, the first unit exam is coming up. And so those weeks we'll only have one. But normally we have 2 a week every week, and they're almost always due Sunday night before 11:55 p.m. Now, let me explain something else about the course. I try to make all of the outside assignments due Sunday night at before 11:55 p.m. so you have a little extra time to work on them. But the other assignments, for example, the quizzes are due midweek. I think our first one is on a Thursday. But I will post the announcements. I will post videos. I will send emails to let you know exactly when those are coming up. And so kind of keep an eye out for those. But not everything is due on Sunday. Just the stuff we do outside of class is due at the end of the weekend. The things we do for class. If this were, think of it this way. If this were a traditional class where we came to the classroom every 2 or 3 times a week, we would take the test during class, and it would be during one of the class days, obviously. So anyway, be sure you keep up with the course calendar. You should have that printed out and checking off or highlighting things as we go through. We got the Odyssey coming up in week 4, then Sappho, I think you'll like that, then Oedipus the King. World Lit really is an interesting and captivating topic. I hope you enjoy reading some of this old literature. I'm sure you've seen references to it. They're making movies about this kind of stuff all the time, and so it really is a part of our culture, and it's fascinating the way this literature that was written, 3,000, 4,000 years ago still affects us and influences us today. All right, so you're going to work on your first response paper. You've got the reading list, you've got your syllabus, you've got your discussion posts going on, and you've got the first unit exam coming up in a couple of weeks. I'd say you've got a full plate. Keep working. If you have questions, please be sure and drop me an email and let me know how I can help.